I believe life is an exquisite opportunity to explore all facets of who we are, who we get to be, who we are not, and who we choose to create ourselves to be. I believe life is happening for us. It's a wild and exciting adventure, and around every corner, we get to dive in and explore how or why things are showing up for us the way they are. From the people, the places, the patterns, and even the situations. It's our own healing adventure. Imagine, who will you choose to be in the midst of all the highs and all the lows? You get to say how life goes. You first have to be aware of why and how it's showing up for you. Consider, life gives you the opportunity to mold, shape, and expand into your greatest self. Come with me on this journey where I explore various aspects of my own life and how I tackle my own healing adventures and what I learned from them. Maybe what I have to share could make a difference for you or someone else. Welcome to Life's Healing Adventures. I'm your host, Tara Michelle. Welcome back to Life's Healing Adventures. I'm Tara Michelle. I'm excited to be here with all of you today. Today I'm going to talk about single parenting. Yeah, single parenting. But there's going to be some information for, I think, every parent out there in this episode. And a little bit about me, if this is your first time listening. I am first and foremost a mom. I also work in the corporate space. I've been in sales for over 30 years, but my passion and love is making a difference and working with people. And I have intuitive and empathic gifts that allow me to move energy and work with people and do various modalities. So you can always check out the work that I do on my website. But this channel is really all about how life's happening for us and not to us. And a couple weeks ago, I had a really big moment. I woke up in a moment where I was experiencing life happening to me. So as I mentioned, this is going to be about single parenting and really the single parenting heaviness that can come with that opportunity. I see parenting as an opportunity. I see it as a gift. I see it as a blessing. As a matter of fact, today is my son's birthday. He's 13. I can't even believe I have a teenager. Oh. And it's funny because every year when it's his birthday, I find myself thinking, we made it. We did it. We did it another year, And I don't even know where that comes from. Well, actually, I do know where that comes from. And I'll give a quick background. So we've been on our own pretty much since the beginning. My marriage at the time, well, we weren't even married at the time. We got married after the fact, but there were things not working at that time. And when my son was born, I literally heard the words in my mind, "It's you and me, kid." You know that George Burns saying? That's what I heard in my mind, and I thought, oh shit, that's something. And I just remember looking into this beautiful baby's eyes and his little face, and I will never forget the moment they laid him in my arms. And I just had this feeling it was just going to be him and I, because I could see the inevitable future of what was happening in my relationship at the time. And so here we are 13 years later, and for real, every year I say to myself, we did it. We did another year. We made it. We made it. And I think that comes from what I'm about to share with you today. So I also was raised in a single parent household. I watched my mother struggle. I watched my mother work 3 jobs. I watched my mother be miserable, doing everything she could to provide at the best level that she could. I watched her pour tears out all the time. I mean, I don't know that she loved being a single parent, clearly. And I'm not sitting here saying I love being a single parent. I love being a parent. It doesn't matter whether I'm single or in relationship, but for the majority of this time with my son, I've been single. And I just love parenting. I love being a parent. And it is one of the most rewarding experiences I've ever ever got to embrace, acknowledge, experience all of it. It's just being his mom it's everything to me. It's everything to me. It's everything to me. It's everything to me. Okay. But a couple weeks ago, so I shared with you, I do energy work, and I work with these cards too, called Body Regeneration Method cards, which I have them with me, as you can hear them. I have them with me, so maybe at the end I'll pull some cards. But on a Friday night, I decided, hey, I'm going to do a little work on Leland and I, my son and I'm going to do a little bit of work on a few other people in my life. And I started doing some body regeneration method work and just really moving energy. And a couple of the cards that I pulled were, I pulled a past trauma card and a familial patterns card and a removal of fear card. And at the time, all of that made a lot of sense based on the work I was doing and the people I was working on. I was like, that makes total sense. Yeah. So I started cleaning and clearing and cleaning and clearing, and then overriding all of this energy and filling it in with all the good energies, and then, bolstering us all up and strengthening us in, and doing all the things that I do when I'm doing that type of work. And I went to bed. And I felt really good, and I slept really good, and it was amazing. I woke up and I was thinking, wow, I slept, I think, more than 6 hours. And I slept deep. But then when I woke up, I sat there a moment and I had the heaviest experience just overwhelm me. It just overcame my entire body. And I started to cry. And I sat there a minute thinking, okay, what is this? What is this? Like, I started tuning into my body. What is this? And I just felt heavier, and I was consumed with fear. There was sadness. There was this experience of feeling alone. And in that moment, I was like, the feeling of life's happening to me was consuming me, just consuming me. And it was a space that's familiar. Like, I know this space. I've been in this space so many times. And just crying, tears, big tears. And at the time, my son, I think, was still sleeping. And I sat there on the edge of my bed, just so heavy, so heavy. And all of a sudden, it dawned on me while I was crying that all of this was coming from this space of, it is only me holding this entire ship. And this ship being a mortgage, a career, parenting, managing dogs, managing my own health and my own vitality and my own self-transformation, or the work that I have to do on myself every day. Cooking, cleaning, yard work, laundry, making sure my son's getting good grades or doing good in school. What's he up to? Is he safe? Is he keeping himself out of trouble? Like, all these things, who haven't I called? What appointments do I have? My brain is just everything that is every day, And I just started crying even more, and crying and crying and crying. And all of a sudden, it was like a flash, like, poof. It was really fast. I had a moment of a download of a man sitting on the edge of his bed with his head cradled in his hands. And in that moment, I remember feeling, how can I explain it? Almost like a mini, poof, like an explosion, poof, in my body. I could feel it. I could feel this whoa. And I honestly will say, it never occurred to me that men could feel this way. And I'm going to say this, please don't take this out of context, anybody. I'm going to try to explain this best I can. because I don't want to get into, I feel like politically, like everything's so gender, blah, 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 and men and women. But anyways, I'm just going to excuse all of that. I'm going to say what I need to say because I want to share what came over me. For the first time in my life, I had a moment where I thought, do men feel this experience of overwhelm and heavy that I am feeling? Do men feel fear in this moment? Do they feel ill-equipped? Do they feel like, I just heard unworthy. That's interesting. That's like a new one that just popped in. Do they feel that they're going to succeed? Do they feel like they're failing? Do they ever? And I ask this because we put so much as a culture, and I don't want to talk about the last 20 years. I want to talk about over thousands of years. Our culture has really placed this traditional value or traditional role that men are the providers. Men provide. And men do provide. And I'm going to say that I love that men provide. That is one of the most beautiful characteristics of a man, when he provides and protects and leads, and like he's that honoring space, like that beautiful space in the family and the role model. So beautiful. When you really dive into masculine, feminine as energies and the traditional roles in energy, don't want to get into all the other stuff that people might make this mean, but energetically, those values and those characteristics are so beautiful. And then women, we bring such beautiful characteristics as well, and energy. So anyways, had this moment and I thought, wow, I never saw it like that. I never saw it, because I have it like, men make it look easy. Men make it look easy. They're like, yeah, I'm the man, I'm the dude, I'm the provider. I hold the heavy. Like, I hold the heavy, I hold the ark, I hold the ship down, I make it all happen. That's how I've always just seen it in my mind. Never thinking that, do they ever feel overwhelmed, or do they ever get scared, or do they ever feel as if they might fail? And if and when they do, who's there for them? Is their partner showing up for them? Is their partner supporting them? Or is their partner, wanting more, pushing more, dragging them down? I would imagine it's on all levels. I would imagine those of you listening that are in relationships and that are not in relationships, you've probably experienced all sides, right? So as I kept feeling into this experience I was having, it had me break down even more. Just, and really feeling both for myself and those providers in the world, whether you're men or women, just those who provide, really feeling, you're amazing. Because this ain't no joke. Some days to be the provider all the time is heavy. Like really, really heavy. So I kept looking deeper into what was going on, because the tears kept coming and coming and coming. Then as the tears were coming, I want to stay on track here. I wrote notes, y'all. I might show notes so I would stay on track, because sometimes I get babbling and, I got to stay on track. But I felt into it more, because then what started happening was I started getting angry inside. And I started going to a place of, okay, it's Saturday morning. What the hell has my son not done that he needs to do, and all this shit he hasn't done, and da-da-da-da-da. Like my head's starting to go there. And then I saw it bounce to, now my accountant, she hasn't gotten me blah, 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 blah. So what the hell? I need to get on top of her, blah, 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 blah. So my brain starts going to all these places of wanting to make the outside world the problem. Like, this is why, and this is why, and this is why, and this is why. And as I caught that machinery going in my brain, I was like, whoa, okay, reel it in. I'm actually really upset. And what I've learned about myself over the years is when I go to that place, it means I'm really scared. I'm super scared. So then in that moment, I checked myself. Okay, you're making others wrong right now. What's going on, Tara? You're making others wrong. You are really in it. What are you in right now? How deep are you in? Like, what's happening? And then it finally came out. And I want to say this took about maybe 5 or 10 minutes. And it finally came out. And all I heard is, I don't want to be strong anymore. I just don't want to be strong. I'm so tired of holding it all up on my own, by myself, every day, every second. I'm the man, I'm the mom, I'm the dad, I'm the provider, I'm the nurturer, I'm the everything. I'm the bill payer, I'm the, money maker, I'm the decision maker, I am the keeper and the feeder of the dogs, I'm the everything. I'm the everything all the time, 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 all the time. Now, I'm not complaining at all. Nope, I'm not complaining because I love my life. I have a great life. I do have a great life, and I feel very blessed, and I feel grateful, and I feel like, wow, I can't believe we have the life we have. But there are those moments in time, and I would imagine many of you, especially you single parents out there, there are those moments where you just don't want to be strong for a moment. And who do you have to lean on? So there I was, really feeling it and recognizing all I want in this moment is just to lean into somebody and have them put their arms around me and say, girl, you got this. It's okay. And you can choose to not be strong today. And so I did that with God, with love if it was like an actual physical person, but I did that with God. And I really had to lean into God. I have to lean into God every day, like every day. Every day I work with God, every day. And I repeat myself because I really want to emphasize it's an everyday journey. It's not sometimes, So getting back to the point, when life is happening to you, when you have that experience of it's happening to you, and maybe you feel like you're in a loop or a pattern, really step into your awareness. But I want to say it's always happening for us. I do believe that. In that moment, I had to really shake myself and wake myself up to, you need to get out of the space of this is happening to you, Tara. You're not a victim to this at all. And hey, yeah, you feel alone, you feel scared, you feel by yourself, you feel like you're not going to be able to hold this. And how much longer do you have to hold this all by yourself? Like, how much longer? It felt like that. It was just, and I could see myself. I don't know why I feel like there's some statue with the big earth and holding up the earth, but that's how it felt like. Just, oh my God, the weight of the world. So I want to acknowledge, there's more I want to share, but I first want to quickly acknowledge those that provide for your family, whether you be single, whether you're in a relationship, whether you're the father or the wife, or the father or the mother. Like, I acknowledge you. And then those that maybe aren't the provider in that way, you provide in other ways too. So, honestly, I acknowledge all of those that are parents. There's different responsibilities, but there's something about the single parent heaviness that really shook me that morning, because there are days when I ask myself, how in the F am I doing all this? And sometimes I don't know. And I fear sometimes I make it look too easy. I mean, it's just what we do. It's just what I've been doing. It's just what goes on. This is just what I do. I just have to do it, you know? There's no like not doing it. It's just you do it. And then you find ways, and it gets easy over time, but there are still those moments where you want to break down. And I'm here to remind anybody who hasn't broke down and needs to break down, it really is okay to break down. And it really is okay to lean in. I have a great community of friends that I can reach out to and say, I just can't do it today. Like I can't. I just can't. I don't want to be strong. I don't want to be the big boss woman. Like I just don't. Like I just want to be Tara and, you know, not have any of these responsibilities today. And I gave myself that permission that day. I mean, I had to wipe my boots off and pull my, you know, big girl pants on because I had a 9:30 call that I was like, oh crap, I have a call I have to get on because I was going to be working with a dear friend of mine, dear friend and mentor, and he was helping me out with some podcast stuff, and I knew I had to get on the phone with him, so I pulled it together. But, you know, I bring up that moment because it really felt like life was happening to me. And having that awareness and that aha of, wow, how do men feel? Do they ever feel vulnerable and weak like I feel in this moment? And, you know, for those men that if you ever do feel, or even, I'm going to say men because that was the awareness and the aha that I had. If you ever feel that, I just want to say it's okay to feel that. It's a lot of pressure and it's a lot of weight, I think, that we put on ourselves as the providers, just as people. You know, I have high expectations of who I am as a parent and what I'm supposed to do. And sometimes those high expectations leak out onto my son, and I'm constantly having to bring my awareness back to me and like not behave in ways that, you know, he's being who he's being because he's 13 now. He is who he is. And I don't have to put any of my fears of my past childhood or mistakes I've made. Like, I don't have to put all that on him. And I have to constantly reel that in. That's like a whole nother conversation. But, you know, I also think some people look at our lives and they think, oh, look how good your life is. Look how much you have. Or, you know, people look at us from the outside, not recognizing or realizing that we might be really moving through something deep and heavy. And I know me, I tend to make it look really easy because I'm always smiling. And I don't know at what point I made that decision as a child, but I definitely decided that smiling is my protection. Like if I just smile, everything's going to be great and people don't have to know what's really going on behind the scenes. And what's really going on behind the scenes here is that like I said, we have a good life, but yes, there are days when it's challenging and it's tough and it can be a lot and it can be taxing on my health and my well-being and my mental state. And, you know, I take stock in those moments and I take time out. So what do I want to share here? You know, take time out. Take time out for those parents that feel heavy and the burden. Take time out. And I feel so many people will say, I don't have time to take time out, Tara. When do I have the time? When do I have the time? You just have to make the time. And then you have to trust in God. You just have to make the time and trust in God. You know, I got into communication that morning. I reached out to a community of my spiritual community that I'm a part of. There's a group of us on Telegram, and I reached out to them immediately when I saw what my brain was starting to do. When I saw, you know, I was already in the breakdown. I'd already had the flash of, you know, what men possibly go through if they do. I then watched my brain start to find things to point outside of me. I then had to pull it into me. And that's where I saw where Tara just wanted to be weak and frail. I hate using the word weak and frail, the phrase weak and frail, because it wasn't so much about wanting to be weak and frail. It was just, I didn't want to be strong. I just didn't want to stand up. I wanted to curl up and just be quiet and still and not have to have all that responsibility on my back or on my mind. And I wanted somebody to lean into, somebody, and I'll say a man, a nice, strong man that just adores and loves me and says, yes, girl, you got this. And I'm here with you. And we got each other, like having each other's backs, right? And so also that brings something up too. If you're in partnership and you have one person provides more than the other, in terms of, if you're a stay-home parent and the other person's doing all of that, and even the person that is staying home with the kids, providing on a whole nother level. I want to remind those of you in those relationships, take time out to acknowledge what each provider is providing and thank them and remind them that you have their back. Because it takes something to raise a household, just as much as it takes something to be the provider and raise the household. My one girlfriend and I, who I hope to have her on the show soon, we always joke because, she listens to all my single woes stories and all my dating stories. And I listen to the things that she moves through, inside of her household. And I'm always like, the grass ain't greener. It doesn't matter which side we're on. We're all on our journey and we'll all get to the outcome, however it is. But I think sometimes people think, oh, I would much rather be single. And I think, oh, I'd much rather be married. But there's the grass is not greener on either side. There's always work to be done. If that's who you are, there's always work to be done. Okay, so let me stay on track here. So I got to see my default patterns, and my default patterns were when I get scared and when I feel overwhelmed and when I feel that, shit feels scary, I start to look outside of myself and start looking at what's wrong with the world outside. What's wrong that my son didn't do? What did the dogs get into? What's happening at work? Like, I go down this rampage. It's crazy. And that's when I know, oops, I'm scared. Or my feelings have been hurt, or there's some kind of pain or trauma thing going on in my heart. And I deflect it with anger and rage. So I reeled it in. I got into communication. I got the support that I needed, and I've got the pats on the back of, girl, you got this. And I then really leaned into God and just allowed myself to surrender to that state of being. One piece I'll say too is that my son, and the other people I was working on that night, the night before, I thought to myself, is any of this energy that I'm seeing a part of theirs too? And is it just processing through me? Because as an empath and an energy worker, that can happen sometimes too, where I'll pull energy off of people or groups of people, and the energy will process through and out me. It doesn't stay in my body because I work to move it out of my body, but sometimes I can feel it in my field. And I wondered if there was some of that too. Like maybe this wasn't all mine, that it could be part of the other people I was working on. But irregardless, it was something that I experienced from time to time. I experienced that. And, those are those moments where, okay, I have to tell myself, this isn't happening to you. This is happening for you. So really what I learned about myself in those moments was, I don't always want to be strong. I do look forward to when there is a partner in my life to where I don't have to be the good cop, bad cop. I don't like that. There's a new perspective. Someone I was talking to today said it really well. It's nice to have two people in those situations for just different perspectives and different outlooks. And that brings a whole new light to the space of parenting and family. I look forward to that. I know one day, I don't know when, it'll happen when it happens. But until then, I continue to do my work. I continue to walk the talk of life is happening for me, not to me. Because that day, it felt like it. And you ever had those days too where your eyes are so puffy because you've cried so much? I haven't had one of those in a really long time. And that was one of those days where I was just like, oh my God, I look like shit. I cried so much that morning. I just kept purging and purging and purging. And I just thought, Jesus. But I also recognize as a woman and as feminine energy, and when I'm holding that much energy and space for the whole entire household, that sometimes I just have to release in that way. I just have to release. Like I have to surrender and I have to allow it to leave my body. And rather than make a story about it, rather than make a story of like, oh my God, what this all means, I tell myself, don't make it mean anything. Just feel it. I just feel it. And me choosing not to make it mean anything and allowing me just to feel it, I feel and believe that it allows it to process out of my body faster because it's got nothing to hold on to. There's no cellular story or cellular memory that it has to lock into. I can just allow it out of my system. And I like to envision it literally washing out my feet, like the soles of my feet. And that day I could see it as like black tar. That's what it felt like. Black tar, just sludge coming out of the bottoms of my feet. And when I got it all out, I felt lighter. Felt better. And then I just cleaned up my energy field and did some work and, got myself back on track. There was one other piece I wanted to add here because it came up while I was sharing something else. There's the piece about, when you're really feeling those deep emotions, it's okay, like, and they're guttural, don't stop it. You ever feel that feeling where energetically in your throat, it just starts burning? You ever feel that? That's energy. And when we're holding that back, imagine what that energy is actually doing in there, especially to the thyroid and to the throat chakra. Just imagine what it's doing. And that's why I say when you feel those moments and you just gotta cry or say what you need to say, say it. Say it. Feel it. But don't have it mean anything other than just releasing. I know there was one more thing I wanted to say about all of that. And I hope that some of what I shared made a difference for somebody, parent out there moving through tough times. I do want to pull some cards. Or a parent out there is just feeling like, damn, life is heavy. Because it can be so damn heavy. But I'm also thinking, well, what are the things that I do? What are the things that I do? Sorry, I'm trying to get this in the right spot. What are things that I do? Because I want to give back in that way. When I find myself in those moments, I've already shared that I allow myself to purge it. I ask myself what's really going on. I watch what my brain starts to do. I get myself in communication because it is a very bad neighborhood in your brain. There are drive-by shootings and you will be left for dead if you stay in there. So get in communication. Allow yourself to feel the sadness, but don't attach any story to it. Don't attach it to any person you're upset with, or the guy or the girl that said this, and the job that did that, and this is why. Don't do that. Just feel it. Feel the emotions. Feel it, and then allow it all to pass out of your body, and feel it really good. Like if you want to just all out feel it, oh my God, feel it. And let it go. Don't attach it to anyone or anything. And then ask yourself, like, I don't even know if it's an asking yourself, just allow yourself to be with what shows up when you don't attach it to anything. What shows up for you? And those of us women, we do need to talk to our girlfriends, and we need to process through, speaking and talking, and definitely do that too. But if you ever find yourself in one of those moments, I encourage you to purge, don't make it mean anything, and then see what's available in your mind after that. I promise you it will be more clear, and you'll see yourself differently. You'll see yourself newly. And you'll become wildly aware of what was really going on with you. For me, it was I just didn't want to be strong. I wanted somebody to lean into. I wanted a warm physical body that was nurturing, loving, and caring, and would just hold me in that moment. Kind of like if your mom just was holding you. That's all I wanted. Because nothing was going to change in my life. Nothing's going to change unless I choose to change it. And I choose to change things in my life every day, all day. I do the work. I make the changes. I do the work mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. But it wasn't anything other than just needing that moment to feel supported. So, sorry, you can hear my dog breathing in the background. He's laying behind me. So that is pretty much what I want to leave you with today, is reminding you that, parenting is an extraordinary experience. And some days it can be really, really heavy. And in those moments, take time out for yourself. Another thing I love to do is I go out back on our property here, and I take my shoes off and I stand in the dirt, and I just feel the energy of the ground. And that literally drops my stress, my tension, my blood pressure. It's amazing. Grounding is what it's called. I'm sure all of you know, or many of you know. Okay, so I want to pull a couple cards. So I'm using the Body Regen deck. And this deck was created by Tracy L. Clark, who is actually my mentor and who I learned the Body Regen method from. And that is actually the modality that I now pretty much, I don't want to say solely use, because I use it with other modalities and gifts that I have, but this is the main modality that I use when working with myself and with others. One way to explain it, one could say it's kind of like Reiki. It's different. Whoa, something just popped out. It's kind of like Reiki, but it's faster. The energy moves a lot faster. Oh, got two cards that jumped out. Okay, I'm hearing there's one more. One more. Whoa. One more. Oh, that card has come up all day today. Okay. All right. So the cards I got was Release Lack, Increase Unlimited Potential, and Increase the Lymphatic System. So when I'm doing this energy, and for any and all, I'm just going to look at a community of people that may be listening to this show. And I want to pull up all known and unknown stories around lack energy. And I think, and I will say this too, when I do work, sometimes I burp or yawn a lot. And that's my body releasing the energies. And so right now I'm moving my hands because I'm moving out some energies from this community of people that are listening at this time. And lack, I think that feeling of lack as a parent, whether you're lacking funds, lacking food, lacking clothing, or lacking energy, whatever it is that you think you could be lacking, because there's always something that has to be done, lacking help around the house. I want to pull the energy and the spirit of lack off every single person listening to this episode right now. And we're going to send that all back. I do like to work with God. We're sending it all back to God for justice in the only way that God knows how. But I also want to increase and speed up the lymphatic system, because as you can imagine energetically, how the lymphatic system can actually slow down with toxins and stress in the body, right? It's like a clog. It's like the system gets clogged. And you think about the lymphatic system as like your drainage system. So I want to increase the lymphatic system to now flush out all toxins within the body, from the mind, body, spirit, both mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, from the tops of your heads to the soles of your feet, just moving it all out. Thank you, God. Moving out the lack, but actually increasing that lymphatic system. Sorry, I think I said all that wrong because my brain is going faster than I can speak. Okay, so I'm increasing the lymphatic system. Okay, thank you, God. And now I'm going to increase unlimited potential for each and every one of you listening to this show today, and expanding that out, increasing unlimited potential for each and every one of us. Thank you. I'm pulling that through and expanding that out. And so, yeah, I send all of you off to have an amazing week, an amazing day. But I just want to say thank you for listening. And, I'd love to hear anyone's stories about parenting. Oh, there's one more thing. Sorry, they want me to button that up a little bit more. Sorry. We're moving out a little bit more lack, so more lack is popping up. I think culturally we have a big lack mentality. So I want to remove more of that, any residual energies of the lack, spirit of lack energy, sending that out. Thank you, God. And then we're going to increase the lymphatic system to flush all toxins out. Thank you, God. And then we're going to increase unlimited potential in all areas of your life, in all interconnected ways of communication. All interconnected ways of communication. So increasing that. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Okay. So yeah, a little bit about this show. You're going to get some energy work. We're going to do a little bit of energy work, but also just to leave you all with, have an amazing day, I know I was saying something, I got interrupted and sidetracked, but I was saying something, but that's okay. Have an amazing day. As for those of you out there, parents, take time out for you. Remember who you are. Take time out for you. Breathe. Give yourself grace. Give yourself space. Take 10, take 2, even if it's just 2 minutes. You can do it. You have to do it. You have to do it, because that's how you stay your best self for your kids. We can't be our best selves for them if we're running ourselves into the ground. So self-care is crucial, which that's a great segue into our next episode. Is going to be on health and nutrition, and I'm going to have a guest speaker. Not a guest speaker, I'm going to have a guest, and we're going to have a conversation. It's actually going to be my trainer, one of my trainers, Kindy Malat. She's amazing, and she's helped me on my most recent and very long journey back to health and wellness and nutrition, because I went through a hellacious experience of menopause and got very, very sick due to stress from the job I had previously to this job, and just a lot of things in my life that weren't good. And it was just stress. It was 90% just stress, and I was killing myself, and it was bad. So the last few years, I'm going to say probably the last 3 or 4 years, I've been on a very long but helpful journey of nutrition, diet, health, exercise, all of it. And so I'm going to bring Kindy on and we're going to have a conversation about that next episode. So catch me every other Sunday here at the same spot, Tara Michelle. If you want to work with me or if you want to reach out and just share anything you want to share about parenting, please do. Would love to hear your stories and love to hear how you cope or you handle with those single parent heavies or just parenting heaviness. You know, we have our good days, we have our bad days, but I just want to remind all of you, keep shining, keep going, don't give up, give yourself 2 minutes, do whatever you have to do, take that break, but sending you all tons of love, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Have an amazing day. Thank you for coming on this healing adventure today. If you're starting to see how everything is falling into place for you, consider rating the show and sharing it with one of your friends. Keep that spirit alive and join me next week, same place, same time. Have a great week.